Hello everyone, I'm Anas Al-Ubaidi, and the topic or the title for this session or lecture is Ethical Principles in the Declaration of Helsinki. And this lecture is within the chapter that is about foundations of clinical research. And of course, this lecture is part of the Advanced Clinical Research Assistant Certification course program by CCRPS. Introduction. The Declaration of Helsinki, formulated or established by the World Medical Association (WMA), is a landmark document in the field of medical ethics. Established in 1964 and revised several times since, it serves as a globally, internationally recognized set of ethical guidelines for research involving human participants. The declaration was created to address the ethical dilemmas that arise when conducting human research, particularly in the wake of historical events where the rights and welfare of participants were grossly violated. It provides a framework that promotes respect for human dignity, autonomy, and well being in all clinical research activities. The declaration itself goes beyond legal obligations and societal expectations. It embodies a moral commitment to protecting participants while advancing scientific knowledge. Researchers have a dual responsibility to prioritize the welfare of participants or subjects and uphold scientific rigor. This balance is especially relevant to today's world, where clinical trials are diverse, global, and increasingly complex. The principles outlined in the declaration ensure that human subjects are not merely considered instruments for scientific progress, but are treated as partners whose individual rights and dignity must take precedence. At the heart of the declaration lie essential ethical principles such as the prioritization of participant welfare, the requirement of voluntary informed consent, and transparency in research. These principles aim to address the ethical challenges that arise at various stages of clinical trial design, execution, and reporting. This lecture explores the core tenets of the Declaration of Helsinki, their applications in contemporary clinical research, and the lessons that advanced clinical research students must carry forward in their practices. Key points. First key point, we'll start with participant welfare priority. One of the foundational principles of Declaration of Helsinki is that the rights, safety, and well-being of participants must always take precedence over scientific and societal interests. Research should never prioritize the advancement of science at the expense of human dignity. Ethical principle: participants' welfare must be safeguarded throughout every phase of a trial, from planning and execution to evaluating results. Any harm to participants must be promptly addressed. Practical application: trials must include safety monitoring protocols such as interim analysis to assess adverse events or risks. If harm exceeds expected levels, researchers are ethically obligated to modify the trial design or halt the study. Example: a phase 1 drug trial is paused when participants report severe side effects that were not anticipated in preclinical studies. Adjustments are made to reduce potential harm prior to resuming the trial. Significance here: this principle ensures that research adheres to humanitarian values and builds public confidence in clinical trials, fostering long-term societal trust in the research community. And here is a diagram on prioritizing participant welfare in ethical research practices. Then another key point: voluntary informed consent. Participants must voluntarily agree to join a study based on a full understanding of its purpose, risks, benefits, and procedures. This principle empowers individuals to make decisions about participating in research without coercion or manipulation. Ethical principle: consent must be informed and freely given, with participants being fully aware of their rights, for example, to withdraw at any point without penalty. Practical steps: Researchers should use simple, clear language and consent forms. Considerations for cultural and linguistic variations must be addressed to ensure understanding across diverse populations. Example: a multinational diabetes trial provides consent materials in multiple languages and organizes in-person Q&A sessions to ensure participants or subjects are well informed. Significance: this principle respects the autonomy of individuals, acknowledging their right to control decisions that affect their bodies and lives. And here is a diagram on empowering research through ethical and informed consent practices. Another key point: scientific justification and risk assessment. Ethical research requires a rigorous evaluation of risks and benefits. Trials should only be conducted if their potential to improve understanding or a treatment of a condition justifies the risks involved. Ethical principle here: researchers must minimize risks while maximizing potential benefits. Ethics committees or review boards, like institutional review boards, IRBs, play a crucial role in this process. Practical application: prior to or before initiating a trial, researchers should conduct pilot studies or analyze preclinical data to ensure that intervention has a substantial likelihood of positive outcomes. Example: a cancer drug trial proceeds only after animal studies demonstrate significant tumor reduction with manageable side effects. Significance here: balancing risk and reward ensures that resources are invested in research that holds genuine promise while safeguarding participants from undue harm. There is a diagram, a nice summarized diagram on the idea of should the trial be conducted. We have the conduct trial, do not conduct trial. Conduct trial: the trial is justified by potential benefits outweighing risks. Do not conduct trial: the risks outweigh the potential benefits. Another key point: transparency and reporting. The declaration is unwavering in its demand for transparency. Researchers must publish all trial results, regardless of their outcomes, to avoid bias and contribute to the collective body of knowledge. Ethical principle here: honesty and openness are critical in reporting trial data. Negative or inconclusive findings are as valuable as positive results and must be shared with the scientific community. Practical application: trial sponsors and investigators should commit to pre-registering their studies and sharing results in publicly accessible platforms. Example: a pharmaceutical company publishes the full data set from a vaccine trial, including adverse event statistics and efficacy data, even though the vaccine did not meet endpoints. Significance here: transparency strengthens the credibility of research, avoids redundancy, and enables informed decision-making across healthcare systems. And here is a diagram on achieving transparency in clinical trials. Another key point here: ethical oversight and safeguards. Maintaining ethical integrity in research requires robust oversight mechanisms. The Declaration emphasizes the role of independent ethics committees, IECs, or institutional review boards, IRBs, in ensuring compliance with ethical standards. Ethical principle: trials must gain approval from IECs or IRBs to confirm that protocols align with ethical guidelines. Ongoing monitoring safeguards participant rights throughout the study. Practical steps: ethics committees should scrutinize study protocols, monitor interim safety reports, and ensure informed consent processes are robust. Example: an IRB halts a neuropsychology trial after reviewing patient complaints about excessive discomfort during assessments, mandating changes to research procedures. Significance: ethical oversight fosters accountability at both individual and institutional levels, reducing the likelihood of ethical violations. And here is a diagram on ethical oversight and research. Another key point here, examples of clinical application. To further understand these principles, consider real-world scenarios where the Declaration of Helsinki's guidelines have shaped decisions. Example 1. A trial is halted due to unexpected risks revealed, then term risk-benefit analysis prioritizing participant safety above continuing the research. Example 2. Researchers simplify informed consent forms using visual aids to make the information accessible to participants with limited literacy skills. Example 3. Interim and full trial results are published in open access journals, ensuring that both negative and positive findings contribute to global healthcare knowledge. Example 4. Diverse communities are engaged in recruitment to promote representation and inclusivity in a cardiovascular health study. Closing thoughts. The Declaration of Helsinki remains the gold standard for ethical guidance in human research. Its principles equip researchers with the moral compass needed to navigate complex scenarios while ensuring respect, safety, and fairness for participants. For clinical research assistants, mastery of these principles is paramount, as their role often intersects directly with patient welfare and ethical compliance. By upholding the Declaration's ideals, modern researchers contribute to advances in science that are not only innovative but also equitable, just, and deeply committed to humanity's well-being. And here is a diagram on ethical dimensions of clinical research. Summary tables. Here we have a table on core ethical principles of the Declaration of Helsinki, table on participant welfare and safety measures, table on consent and transparency practices, table on transparency guidelines in clinical research, table on ethical challenges and resolutions, and then application table in which we have scenario, key principle applied, key actions, timeline, what to watch out for. Then we have the MCQs or multiple choice questions in order to revise what we have covered through this lecture. Question 1. What is the primary focus of participant welfare in the Declaration of Helsinki? Of course, it's B, the most appropriate answer, protecting the rights and well-being of participants, as the Declaration prioritizes participant welfare, emphasizing that human dignity and safety must always outweigh scientific goals. Question 2. What best ensures participants provide informed voluntary consent to join a clinical study? By C, the most appropriate answer, providing clear, simplified consent forms and materials, as consent materials should be easy to understand, ensuring participants or potential subjects, before they decide to be a participant in the trial, are fully informed of a study's purpose, risks, and benefits. This respects participants' autonomy and supports ethical research practices. Question 3. Under what condition can a clinical trial proceed according to the Declaration of Helsinki? By C, when scientific justification outweighs potential risks. As C is the most appropriate answer, as the ethical principle of risk-benefit analysis states that research should only proceed if the potential for scientific or medical gain justifies any risks to participants. This ensures valuable, ethically sound research. Question 4. What is a key transparency requirement outlined in the Declaration of Helsinki? It is C, the most appropriate answer, publishing all trial outcomes regardless of the results, as transparency is essential for advancing science. Reporting all results, whether positive or negative, prevents bias and promotes informed decisions in healthcare and research planning. Question 5. Which role does ethical oversight play in safeguarding clinical research practices? By C, the most appropriate answer, reviewing trial protocols and monitoring ongoing safety compliance, as ethical oversight ensures trials adhere to ethical principles by screening protocols, monitoring participant safety, and enforcing adjustments when needed. This process guarantees integrity and accountability in clinical research. And here we come to the end of this lecture. Thank you very much and goodbye.